Guys, it is great to see you, especially because of what we're going to talk about. New EP, new music, just new everything. And as we are speaking, of course, in Toronto, things are slowly opening up. How are you guys holding up through all this? Because we had a chance to talk, I think it was, could have been last year,
Yeah,
about a new single. And now we've got an EP. So everything seems to be rolling in the right direction. How you guys holding up?
we're hanging in there. This releasing music is certainly an exciting thing to do, and it's given us some new energy and some new life. And as the weather turns, and like you said, the city's starting to open up, and all those things that we love about the city is starting to happen again. So yeah, the last couple of weeks have been some of the most positive weeks in a while.
That's good to hear. How's Cameron House doing?
It's there. It's chugging. It's lonely and empty, but it'll be there on the other side and raring to go as soon as we get the word.
Fantastic, and I'm seeing the support of Italy for, of course, the cup that is going as we speak. The tournament is going on right now. Do we? I should even bother asking. Who do you think is going to win? But more importantly, though, how do you think this thing's going to turn out, man? Because the excitement, amazing. I think it's just because people are hungry for this kind of excitement.
Yeah, we're looking good. We had the first game. Italy was in the kickoff game, and we got 3 goals for the first time ever in a Euro Cup. We're usually a defensive team, so I'm hopeful. Next one on Wednesday, so looking forward to it. I mean, now that the Leafs are out, we sort of have to turn our focus. The Euro Cup has saved us sports wise. Something to cheer for.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon like I've seen a lot of people doing and cutting up the Leafs. What happened, happened. Let's just see what happens when the new
Moving on
season.
from it.
Exactly. Move on it. One thing I am not going to move on, okay, is the fact that tradition. I am so used to, as we speak, the Junos just happened. I am so used to that after the Junos, going to the Warner Music Party, you guys are always the main performers there, and you guys always kill it. Folks who are watching this on Rudy Blair Entertainment Media, rudyblairmedia.com, they don't know exactly what I'm talking about. Please explain, because man, you guys always rock the house after the Junos.
So I think maybe two of the last three or 4 years we were the house band for the Warner Party, like you said, which is the big after party after the award show on the Sunday. And the first time we got the gig, they told us, just you guys will play and different artists will jump up and they'll call out a song and it's all kind of on the fly. And at the time we were like really excited and nervous and some of the names we were going to get to play. But at the same time, we couldn't really prepare. There's no practice for such a thing. Like there's no way to know what's going to happen. So that first one in Ottawa a few years back was, I think we played almost 4 hours straight of different people coming on and different instruments passed around. And it was really cool. It was definitely one of the nights that we remember as a short list of best shows we've ever done. And the Junos has always been a big weekend for us. We actually were on the tail end of a tour and ended up in Saskatoon the night before the Junos were canceled in 2020. That was the very, very start of all the lockdown and everything. So it was nice to see it finally pulled off, even virtually. It was a really nice night the couple nights ago on the Sunday. So yeah, always a special event.
And hopefully the fact that it's coming back to Toronto next year, we're going to get a chance maybe going to Cameron House and rocking with you guys. So, and yeah, the thing I love about it is, especially because most of the time Jim Cuddy is usually there with you guys throughout the performances, not knowing who's coming up and realizing that this may be the only time I ever see whatever combination is going up there performing whatever song. It's like a first, last, and it's an amazing, amazing event. Just curious, we were talking about Saskatoon. How did you end up getting out of there? Because for me, I was literally on the plane when I found out that the Junos at that time was being canceled. Got off the plane, walked over to a kiosk, got my ticket again, and waited about 6 hours before I could fly back to Toronto. What happened to you guys getting back?
I think we might have actually gotten on the plane that you were on coming from Toronto. We were already at airport waiting and got on one back home. But we were already on tour, and so we had come into Saskatoon the night before on a Wednesday. And then in the middle of the night, we woke up to a couple texts and phone calls from people we knew that were already in Toronto and had heard that it had been canceled. So we just immediately looked for flights right away, hopped on the earliest one we could. And that was the end of our tour.
Yeah, as Tally said, we were in the airport waiting to fly when we saw a plane land, and it was all these musicians walking off, checking their phone, and realizing that it had just been canceled as they're in the air. And I think you were one of those people.
I was definitely one of those people, man. You know what? It cost me some change, but I will never, never forget the experience. And I'm actually glad I was part of that experience, because, man, I could talk about this for the rest of my life. It was definitely a moment. And cross fingers, next year when we do the 51st Juno Awards, because it's Toronto, we can make up for 2 years of non-partying. The city is going to explode. But that's next year. We're talking this summer. We're talking right now. You gentlemen, new music out. Congratulations on that. What's the new EP called? Because, man, I'm seeing just the cover itself, the neon lights and everything. It sounds like this EP is going to be part of a hot summer for a lot of fans.
Oh, well, thank you. First off, it's the new EP is called Sweet Fever. It just came out on June 4th. So it's still fresh to us. It's songs that we've had written over pretty much the last 2 years, written and recorded at various studios with various different people. So it's kind of a bit of a summary of where we've been in the last couple of years. And some of these songs were a little bit older, and we just, we felt this was the time. We had a few of them ready to go last summer, but we were kind of waiting to see if things would open up at some point, if there would be a right time to tour. But it just kind of, things worked out as they did, and we thought right now would be the perfect time to put it out. As you said, a summer EP, and hopefully some of these songs will stick as some of your summer jams.
Sweet Fever is the name of my high school band. The first time I ever played live in front of anyone in like our high school battle of the bands, our band was called Sweet Fever, and I had to call a couple of my old friends I haven't talked to in a little bit, and how do you guys feel if I use this name Sweet Fever for our album? And they're all totally on board. So I thought it was a nice little summary of where we started.
That is so cool. I love that, bringing a little bit of history into some new music. How did you mentioned about, going to various studios. How hard was it to record this during the pandemic, opening, closing? You can only have this amount of people. You can't do that. How tough was it?
Yeah, it was definitely a different experience. A few of these songs were recorded last summer in that brief period when studios had reopened. But like you said, there were a lot of restrictions. We had to go in at separate times, kind of one at a time. We weren't allowed in the control room as you usually are, so you don't really get to hear everything back the same way. So it was a bit of a challenge, but I think we went into it more prepared because of that. We kind of knew what we had to do going into it, and just walked in and recorded and then got out.
You guys have a new single also out right now that sounds big and awesome. Talk about what the new single is called, please, and what that song is about.
It's called I'll Always Be There. And we wrote it while we were on our last tour. When we ended up in Vancouver, we met up with Ryan from Mother Mother, and that big anthemic sound you're talking about, you can definitely hear that Mother influence, or that Ryan touch on it. It was a cool process for us to get to work with him, because we know his music for so long, but to see a little bit of a peek behind the curtain on how he creates it was a new trick for us.
Yeah, so when we were on the road in Vancouver, we met up with him just for a day and got a couple brief ideas together, and then once we got back to Toronto after the tour, we singled that one out as kind of being our favorite one and worked on it until completion. And once it was finished, we were all happy with it and decided that would be the single.
You gotta be like just biting at the nails to be in a big show and hearing that song be sung back, because like I said, it sounds huge.
Yeah, it's a weird experience for us to record a song with never having tried it live in front of an audience before. I think our full last album, every single song we had played at least a handful of times in front of an audience before we went into the studio. So these songs, some of them including I'll Always Be There, that single, we've never played. It was studio first recorded, and we were just excited to get out there and play in front of some people.
Can you talk about the video itself also too? Because it reminds me something like Bruce Springsteen would have put together in one of his videos back in the 80s.
There was a couple things with that video that we didn't want to do. We kind of knew what we didn't want to do first, and that was one, we didn't want to be featured prominently playing our instruments. That's kind of every other video we've ever done is us playing our instruments. So we sort of wanted to avoid that and us not be the focus. And the second was to not be a cliche boy-girl love song. We didn't want to follow the lyrics too tightly or be too cliche. So this idea of kind of being an emotional thing without those two features was sort of our vision. And then after that, the director kind of took it from there and had this idea of the father-daughter relationship and working on this old car. So that was a really great touch, and I thought he pulled it off.
No, you know what? I think it's the perfect video for the song for the summer too. And especially since a lot of us haven't been able to be with family, this is a nice touch to say, hey, we're all coming back together again. So great job, guys. As we are coming back together and we've talked about, you know, concerts, shows, or whatever, what's the feel as things are opening up? What's going to happen with you guys? Will there be drive-in shows? Are you thinking? Are you still going to do virtual? Are you going to wait until things really open up so we can have bigger shows? What's the thought right now?
I think we're pretty much raring to go for whatever offer we get. We're ready to play. We're excited to get back on stage. We were lucky enough to have a drive-in show last year. We played at the City View Drive-In in Toronto, opening for JJ Wild and the Bluestones. So we got to have that experience, and that was awesome. It was a lot of fun. It's obvious. It's very different from like a packed room and, you know, people shoulder to shoulder. There's cars honking at you at the end of the song instead of people clapping. So it was a bit of a different experience, but we would love to play one again. And hopefully there's a few more outdoor opportunities this summer, and wherever, you know, people are comfortable to go to a show right now, we would be happy to play. So we're looking for opportunities.
Okay, so let's just make sure folks know social media is the place to go. So if we want to know anything that's going on, not just with you guys and your music, but also Cameron House, when things are going to open up and we can get down there. Because man, I miss being there. It is a great setup. You hear everything, you feel everything, and then of course, if you can get to the back room, is even cooler too back there. Where do we go and what do we do to keep an eye on everything that's happening?
The Cameron is thecameron.com, and as soon as we get information about when we're able to open, it will be on there, and we'll be anxious to get shows going again in that venue, because I think that's an important part of the city. And then we're at ferraromusic.com for the band stuff, and on Instagram and all of the social media places.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, thank you so much for the interview. Thank you for the music. Cannot wait to see you guys live again. It's going to be great. And, you know, I wasn't picking anybody for the Euro Cup, but man, since you're looking so damn good with your shirt, go Italy on this one.
That's what I'm talking about.
Guys, thanks again. We'll definitely talk soon.